Hey Jordan, I see the hair is gone. It's very monk-like.
Yeah, I two housemates. One, the guy who had the stroke, he said to me, "Wow, that's great." And I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, "Your hair." Like I forget that I did this. But the other roommate, who's really nice to me, my closest friend here, he saw me
Hmm.
several times this morning and made no comment about the fact that I've removed my hair, which is totally obsessed in terms of what my image is. He didn't even notice or didn't say anything. It's wild.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, it's that was the first thing I noticed for sure.
Yeah.
I like it. It's monk-like.
I think what was happening was I was very aware of how you can speak about humility,
Hmm.
say that you value humility, but you're you're so easily tempted, even what if you're talking about humility, to not be humble. And I was thinking about um, the reference to Satan in the Bible to Peter when Peter's like, you don't have to die. Jesus, you're not going to die. And Jesus is like,
Hmm.
get behind me, man. Like you're
Hmm.
concerned with the concerns of man, and I'm focused on the concerns of God.
Exactly.
And my
Exactly.
belief is the reason he got angry, which Jesus rarely got angry,
Yeah.
which tells me he's an Enneagram 9 or was, is because it is so tempting to be like, oh yeah, I don't have to have this bad thing happen to me, or I can cause this great thing to happen to me. I can manage it. And so, I got flooded with all these ideas about great, beautiful things that could be done, and in the name of humility and my spiritual path and helping others and all that. But it was very much about me, me, me.
Hmm.
So I said, I have to shave my head because I have to shed the attachment to the image.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's kind of like the concept of dying to oneself,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. It's very good to die to yourself because then that opens you up to who God wants you to be instead of who you want you to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I like it. I think that's good idea.
And then if I try to cure the migraine with leeches, they can get a hold of my brain more easily.
True. True.
So
So you didn't sleep at all last night?
no, no, I finally fell asleep. I had a migraine. Unfortunately, I didn't come up with a miracle cure for migraine like I thought, or it hadn't been given to me. Um,
Hmm.
then it went away a little briefly. Now it's here slightly. And I felt like if I had been able to turn off the phone and the computer earlier, maybe I wouldn't have had a migraine. Like I think it was from the mental effort. And,
Probably.
and what I noticed was that when I was talking and I lost my train of thought, or when I was typing and my iPhone died because I was texting all day, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel a sense of loss. Like it was super clean. I'm like, yes, I'm totally revved up and I'm doing lots of things. But
Hmm.
as soon as it was denied me, I wasn't attached. And that was interesting. I don't think anyone's ever felt that experience. If you're that intense as I was, then you'd imagine there would definitely be attachment to achieving your agenda. So I
Hmm.
was very grateful that when it got interrupted, what I would have expected didn't happen. And so I think, that's one of the benefits is that I've learned to distinguish between pushing toward a goal and being very humble and allowing if the goal fails.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole key word you said is allow.
Right. Because
Allow.
the thing is, like, what I was doing for the past few years, I think was I felt beaten down and I was just working on allowing myself to try to accept the loss of my opportunities, like the
Hmm.
loss of my hair.
Uh,
Trying to just accept it. And then yesterday, I get fired up with very exciting ideas, which is nothing wrong with exciting ideas. The problem comes if you're attached to making them happen.
Hmm.
So, like I shared with Jacob, who's this marketing guy,
Hmm.
all these ideas, but they're all a jumble. He probably thinks I'm like a crazy person. Um, and I uploaded a video and it was like it was all chaotic. Like things that was going weird. Like I'll show you a video I took of the lights in my bathroom. They were not on ever. And suddenly
Hmm.
yesterday and this morning they blinked on. I'm like, let there be light. I mean, like, and like the phone dying, which was, of course, because I overused it, but there were a lot of like little glitches happening because I think the energy was so intense. And so I did this at one point. Maybe I was on with you. And because my senses were a little more attuned, I was able to slow down. And that's if I do it again and I'm able to slow down, I think really amazing things can happen because it built a fervor, a desire in me that isn't ordinarily there, and a
Yeah.
willingness to keep pushing, which is not ordinarily there. Um, but also I would always shift it to, but if this doesn't happen, it's okay. Like it's okay, it's okay, it's
Hmm.
okay. And I can pee on myself, it's okay. Um,
Hmm.
so I was able to again push an agenda but let it go. And then I sent you a graphic of the inhale, just gratitude,
Hmm.
and the exhale, forgiveness. And I'm looking for these kind of practices to help me to stay present because if I'm not present, that was the fascinating lesson. I was very driven, very dedicated, but it was all like, and now I need something to happen, right? Like now I need a sign to happen. Now I need to feel the joy and know that the joy is the love of God. Like I have, it was all managing. Like I have,
Right.
these things have to happen. And, you know, I think it's fine, like you said, fervently pray or that, but then you have to stop, right? You have to stop because if you
Yeah.
don't stop, if your mind is not quiet, if your body is not receptive, if you have an agenda or an expectation,
Right.
it's much less likely that you're going to connect with anything divine because it's like, how can I connect with you? You're still talking. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
you said it perfectly.
Yeah. So
100%.
it's a paradox because the substance allows you to, it's a legal thing, by the way, if anyone's watching, it's illegal. But this substance, if it allows you to focus on whatever you're going to focus on, in my case, working with you, focusing on connecting to God. And it's really powerful for that.
Hmm.
But it has an equal, the enemy or the demon ego mind rises to the occasion because, like, okay, yeah, you want God, but I'm also energized by this. So I want you to think about
That's
all these
correct.
great things that you can do.
That's correct.
And I said to you at one point, I was sending a message about a double blind study that could be done, working with stuttering and like all these things. And I'm like, but I don't really want to do that. I think so many times in life, I get an idea of something that would be effective without asking, do I want to do that? And now with your conversations, like, is that going to lead me to surrender and humility? No, it'll be intellectually interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if anything comes from this stuff, I'm just going to sit down with Jacob and let him guide it because I'm like, I brain dumped all these ideas.
Hmm.
The video I uploaded and shared with you guys, it all got glitchy. So like a lot of those ideas are lost, which is fine. But I dumped it out and now like I have to hand it over because if I'm trying to push any agenda,
Right.
and the energy of the thing is lost. And I see this with religion and with landmark education and with psychedelics and with you know, compassionate political action or businesses. If you get too attached to this has got to be bigger and it's got to be better and I need to be on a stage.
Right.
Doesn't matter how pure your message is, it's not for the higher good.
I agree. I
You know, I've been praying for this
100% agree.
housemate for her to have joy, peace, and love. So this morning, she's talking with her dog. My dog is adopted, you know, like my dog's gone. and her dog and her get to have this great time together. And I'm just like jealous. I'm not, my prayer came true. She's joyful, peace and love. And I'm like, where's my dog? Where's my joy?
Mhm.
And then I said to you, I heard her recording, which wasn't Tony Robbins anymore. It was a woman praying.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to distinguish when I hear someone invoking Father and Jesus. Not when you do it, but most people, when they do it, I don't think they're really doing it. I think they're just saying words that they're supposed to say, or there's something, just something felt fake or off about it. And I could be completely wrong. I think if a prayer is said slowly with a lot of pauses and receptivity and not like a performance or a certain cadence that you hear when preachers speak, this woman had this kind of cadence. And again, I'm not saying I read it right, but it felt like the energy was not authentic. And I don't know how to do it authentically. I think if I did, I would feel the love of God. Even if God didn't exist, I think if I do it authentically, I will feel God. So I'm not saying I'm better than this woman, but I do feel like if we were to partner with religious groups, I would want to be extremely careful with the individual because just because you say the words doesn't mean you really are feeling that, you know? The challenge is I want to be on stage, whether it's for whatever, but let's just say for religion or talking about entheogens, psychedelics. You may start out humble, but unless you are willing to be transparent, admit where you're messing up, not give advice to people, catch yourself when you're judging others who don't conform, then maybe you have a chance to be on a stage and be humble. I think it's not easy to do. Especially because a microphone, it amplifies your voice. You're hardly using any effort, and yet you've got like a godlike power. Like suddenly you can reach someone 50 feet away and you had no effort involved. So I think it's very tricky business. I don't want to hide in obscurity because I'm afraid of it, but I do want to have people like you who I can confess when I'm not hitting the mark. And that I think is the big lesson from our talks, because in spirituality, in non-duality, in these satsangs and all that, the person in front of the room is held as superior, which I think priests and religious people are also. But the difference is that you and others of your kind are probably more readily willing to admit your flaws and your humility. And
Yeah.
when you're on a stage talking about non-duality and all is one, I think it's extremely hard to be humble because there's no one to surrender to. And the concepts may even be more true than religion. I'm not saying the concepts are off, but those concepts are, I don't think they're for us. I think they're for after you die and the pearly gates open and God's like, okay, now I'm going to dissolve you into me. You won't be a you anymore. Um, and or you can go back and be another person if you want, reincarnate. But like that's what it's all about. And then you're like, oh, okay, so the non-dualists were right. But I don't think if you play with those ideas on Earth, I don't I don't think it works for most people. So I'm just after 10, 20 years of it, upon meeting you and going to Codependency Anonymous and having that joy of asking God to remove my defects because I can't do it. I have a direction now, and I'd like to share that direction with others if it helps me along my path. And if it's not, if it becomes egoic and arrogant, hopefully God will tear the whole thing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
As long as it's not self-serving ambition and the goal really is not to be on the stage and be the man, but really to bring people to God, to awareness of God, then I see it being a good thing.
I think that's why I shave my head, right? Because if you shave your head, you're telling yourself, drop the image, drop trying to be impressive to people. My ex-wife was like, "You don't have the right head shape to shave your head." I'm like, "Yeah, I totally don't. If I had a rounder head, it might be all right. I got this long head." So I think, I think vanity is so seductive, especially for those who are speaking about higher principles, because you might say the devil rises to the occasion. I could say the ego or the mind rises to it. But it's like you're going to go up to God. Well, I'm going to make it a little harder for you to get there. I'm going to tell you how this is going to make you powerful and appreciated and loved. But I think the solution that I had, which was stay anonymous, it's a little heartbreaking. It's a little demoralizing. So I feel now that I can try to engage with other people in a leadership role, but as a humble leader. Like I'm trying to serve. I'm constantly have to focus on how can I serve? And that's why the training and counseling was so valuable because people come to you as a counselor and they want advice, and that's not your job, and it will backfire. Your job is to hold space for them and maybe point out, in my case, point out some parts work, And now that I've had these conversations with you, pray. And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll stop talking. The other thing I'm grateful for is in your line of work, in your world, someone communicating with God is like a no big deal. Like it's just said, like, oh yeah, I'm talking to God. And like it's nothing. It's just a thing. I mean, it's obviously big, but it's like, yeah, anybody can do this. Whereas in spirituality, the pursuit of non-dual awakening, where you're one with God and the universe and everything, very few, if any, ever achieve that or reach that or have their ego dissolved into that. And so if it happens, it's grandiose. And when it doesn't happen, then you feel inferior. But your whole line, and those like you, is like, yeah, talking to God, no big deal. Or I've talked to God once, or I have this experience, and I believe, no big deal. It's just that a lot of people do it. Everyone around me does it, and you can do it too. And it's not that hierarchy. Even if you wear a uniform and there's a hierarchy, um, it's more of a modeling of humanity and humility and frailty and
Hmm.
fragility, not the guru is like, yes, I am awakened. You might
Right.
be like me if you go to my retreat and pay me money. Like that's the subtext happening. So I'm grateful for this change.
Yeah, no, these gurus that you speak of, a lot of them fancy themselves as, as God.
It's more important than anything else to stay humble and surrendering, because if you don't do that, you're blocked off from the higher. However, it's defined. In your book, it's defined as
The
he,
triune
him.
God.
Yeah. But whatever framework is, there's got to be something above you, or you're going to be arrogant.
Hmm.
And I've seen it with guru communities. I've seen many, and the guru, if they're alive or dead, are held up as the godlike figure. But then there's always like the inner circle. So they're like, yeah, we're special because we're the inner circle. And it's more important for us to have an audience with the guru than it is to attend to you, the suffering person. Like it's all backwards.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I'm just glad to be, I don't want to be critical of them, just like I don't want to be critical of people who take hallucinogens to dance the night away. Like I just don't want to go down that road. But I want to just focus on that. I'm grateful that I have a shot at something else,
Hmm.
that I've seen there's another way, or there could be another way for me. And I know I know that it's not manageable, my life or this path, without
Hmm.
asking for help from the divine. Because as you said once, the mind or the ego or the demon is extremely strong, smarter than me.
Hmm.
I cannot conquer it. You saw me yesterday. I could not stop texting.
Hmm.
I was hijacked. When the mind is activated, Silence is very elusive, and that's really what I want to find. Humility and silence. And it's hard for me because I don't have the framework, that other people have.
Mhm.
I can talk with you and I can ask you to pray for me and I can muster up under certain substances the will and the desire and the begging, right?
Mhm.
Like I was begging, and I've done this before on entheogens, begging. And I think that's you got to start with that. If there's no desire for it,
Yeah.
but then there's got to be silence. And I sent that text to my ex-wife, appreciating her and apologizing, but it was not a heartfelt, like it just felt like this is the thing, this is the right thing to do. It wasn't like I guess my inhibitions to doing it were gone, and there must have been some warmth, otherwise why would I do it? But I have felt in my life an overwhelming of gratitude and love in my life. I know what it feels like, and it wasn't that. But I was thinking, like if there were just ceremonies where we focus on, who are the people that I have resentments about? Maybe they're tied to physical ailments, and I would like to take this pill and drop some of that anger and resentment. That's all I want to do. Maybe that's all. Maybe I want to talk to God, but if I can just do that. And
Mhm.
so, I did that. I sent that text
That's
and
good.
and um and I did pray. And I think that's a lot. Yeah, sure. It's not the peak, experience where you
Mhm.
meet some entities or you see God, like people have taken ayahuasca and seen Jesus. Like, that stuff happens. Um, Whether it's real or not, who knows? But I want to express that I feel accepting, even though it fell short of what I had hoped.
Mhm.
Whereas when the priest didn't cure my migraines, I was not very accepting. I went into several days of despair because I had such a strong expectation.
Mhm.
Um, and yet from his prayer, I got introduced to Ruha. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I should look it up one day, but nah, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. And then I go to a meeting, to a talk a few days later, and Ruha is mentioned again. I've never heard this word before. And I'm like, oh, it's the
Right.
divine Holy Spirit in a female form.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, so maybe that's why all this happened. Like just to
Right.
be um just to be willing to see what is the positive coming out of anything. And
Yeah.
to notice when my mind tries to protect my image, like thinking all those texts I sent to Zach are probably fine, but I sent all these texts to Jacob and he doesn't really know me. Um, and be okay to be the fool
Mhm.
because I think
Absolutely.
that as soon as we lose that willingness to look like a fool or look like a monk,
Mhm.
um, we're screwed. That's what I think we're screwed. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right, Jordan. I would, I mean, do what you will, do what you wish, but my my recommendation for you, since the goal is to be silent, still, blank mind of a child during your state of prayer, would be to go to church and pray, because that is where silence and stillness uh,
Church,
is.
church, synagogue, or mosque.